the 30s. And the 30s are when you have become of age. Believe it or not, you've become of age and you are now learning who your friends are, and you're also learning about your relationships, because a lot of times we pick up a lot of friends when we're young, and most of us, when we're picking friends when we're in our teens and as childhood and even in our 20s, we're picking people who are fun, who are good to be with, who make us laugh, who, think like we think, go where we go, and it's just like that's pretty much the basis of your friendship. But now, when you get into your 30s, some people do need, friends that are, a little bit more serious because they're going through a lot of serious things. And so sometimes they have to rely on their friend and those relationships to help get them through the hard places. But most people, they're just picking people who they click with. That's it. You're clicking with this person, and then that's your friend. And most of the time, when you're picking those relationships, let's face it, most of the time they are based on how people look, and what they drive, and how she, shaped and all of that. So that, usually that's where, how about as close as what you want. And then, but in your 30s, that's when you realize whether those friendships or those relationships are going to work at this season in your life or this stage in your life. And it's usually in your 30s that you realize whether this is going to be somebody that I can grow with, this is going to be somebody that I can pivot with, because by the time you turn 30, if you've been doing it right, you've changed. You've learned some things. You're not the same person you was when you was in high school and when you was in your 20s. And a lot of times people want to take you back there and reminisce, and you don't mind. It's fun. It was funny. It was, whatever it was. It was embarrassing, or whatever you did when you was in your 20s, 30s, whatever. Even things that people did in there while they were in college. Yeah, in college they did certain things, but they were in college. Now that they're out of college and you meet them in their 30s, they're a different person. And it's not that they're trying to be, thing. It's just that they've grown because life has made them have to either, you have to make a decision and you got to now try to grow up. So usually that happens fully in your 30s. And this is usually the time when you're doing resume building, because you may have already, if you went to school, you've gotten the degree now, or you're in the process of getting some additional degrees and certificates and certifications for whatever it is that you need to do. But it's also a time when you're building that resume. So now you got to take on new tasks, new skills that you can do. You got to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And then this is the time when you have to sell yourself. You got to sell yourself in personal relationships, because, let's face it, if you start in a relationship in your 30s, that person is interviewing you. That's pretty much what they're doing. They're trying to see if they really want to spend the rest of their life, or however long y'all relationship going to be, with you. So you're selling yourself to that person, and hopefully you're being honest and you're being truthful, because if you're not going to be happy. Even if you sold them a bill of goods, when you get into that relationship, if you were lying, guess what? You're not going to be happy in that relationship. And also, you selling yourself professionally. And a lot of times when I have one video, it talks about getting an opportunity and how to seize that opportunity. And the reason why I did that particular video is because so many people don't know how to sell themselves, and they don't know that is a process. A lot of times when you are a person that have opportunities available to you left and right, it's because you're good at selling yourself. You're good at letting people know what I can bring to you, how I can make your business, your place, whatever it is, how I can make it better. So this is when you build your resume. Make sure that every move that you're making is a part of how is it going to impact my resume? How is this going to look on my resume? Because what happens is, even if it's not a written resume, even if it's one that you need to tell verbally, and now we're in a more verbal society, so you're going to have to kind of have more of a verbal resume as well. So you're going to have to be able to sell yourself, and it is in your 30s that you now begin to sell yourself.